She's wanting you to move back. Why? It's because she wants me to do this. So she wants me to do this. I'm encroaching. Okay, so here's your homework question. Can't hear me. $5.67. Oh, homework was Matthew chapters 5, 6, and 7. Matthew 5, 6, and 7. You were to read it every day. You read the Sermon on the Mount 7 times. What did you learn? It's okay. What did you learn from the Sermon on the Mount? Nobody did their homework. So, what you learned is how to be a citizen in the kingdom of God. We're talking about how to work in God's economy while we live upon this earth, and Jesus teaches us how to be a citizen of heaven in those verses. And he explains to us God is going to take care of our needs. You don't have to worry about it. It's a promise from God. If you put God in your life, he is the focus of your life, he is going to take care of you. He is going to take care of me. It takes a lot of stress off of people when they realize that. It just sort of folds away. It's sort of like paying the mortgage off on your home. The stress just falls away. So this will be our third class. That's what we're going to talk about. Well, I'm looking that way. Y'all look that way. We're going to learn how to work in God's economy. Gallup, a couple of years ago, did a worldwide survey. Worldwide, not U.S., not one particular area, but the whole world they surveyed. Their question was, do you like work? It was a yes or no poll. Did you know from the world, the whole world, 85% of people hate work? Are you trying? You didn't get to vote, so you're putting your vote in? 85% of people do not like to work. Only 15% of the world population, billions of people, like work. Now, there's lots of reasons for that. In fact, one man devoted his life to answering that question. Why do people not like to work? His whole career, several decades, was dedicated to finding out an answer to why people do not like to work. He said he can boil it down to one thing. At the end of the day, we like for people to come up and pat us on the back and say, good job. And when we don't get that, we feel disrespected because we just dedicated 8-10 hours of our life to this job, to this employment, and nobody gave me any satisfaction for it. Nobody stroked my ego. Nobody said, go get them, let's get it again tomorrow. They just watched me go out the door. And it hurt their feelings. And they became dissatisfied with the work. And he said, in fact, dissatisfaction with work, any employment, any vocation out there, comes back to that same reason when people dislike work. You've been there, you've heard them. They hang around the water coolers and they say, I hate this place. But they show back up. Why do they show back up? I mean, if I truly hated something, why would I go back day after day, year after year to something that I hated. This is a class. Y'all can participate. Money. It's money. I've got bills. You know, we started our first class talking about debt. Debt is a curse. If debt is causing you to go to some place that you hate, get rid of the debt. Get rid of the problem. Some people never thought about the career that they were going to. I was one of those people, okay? I grew up in Springville, just right down that road. We had a farm, and we did all the farming stuff. My graduating class at Springville High School, I don't know how many are there now. My picture's on the wall. Don't try to find it. It's not a very good picture, but I was there, and we had 50 people in our class, graduating class. That actually graduated, we had 40. So when I went to college, I was sitting there, and somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, Paul, let's go shoot pool at the student center." I said, "No, we have to sit in here and do class." "Paul, you don't have to do that anymore." So I started making a career out of shooting pool. My dad informed me after the grades came in, "Son, you get one more time on coming from my account to pay for this school. You do that again, I'm out. You're on your own." I was a teenager. Okay, I graduated high school at 17, and I was there, and I said, "I wonder if he's serious." So I shot pool again. He was serious. He quit paying. I joined the military to start paying for my school. During this time, I walked into the wrong class at Jefferson State University, or not universities, community college, whatever, college. I had the classes mixed up. I didn't know they changed classes. I just thought it was a computer programming class. One of my vocations I wanted to be was a computer programmer. There was a young Italian lady sitting there. I started talking to her. Teacher started going off, writing things up there in hieroglyphics on the board. And I said, "What kind of class is this?" She leaned over and she said, "This is shorthand." And I said, "Shorthand for what?" And she goes, "No, this is a shorthand class." Realized I was in the wrong class. Started talking with her later. We dated. We got married. She then looked at my grades, and she said, "You got to pick something." She said, one of my career vocations, I wanted to be a DJ. That's back in the old school. We had to spin records, really spin records, not the scratch stuff. We had to spin the record. So I was going to be a DJ programmer, something. I had like 6 or 7 different ways. She said, "Pick one." And I said, "Accounting. I'll stay with accounting." And she said, "Okay, we are going to dedicate to accounting, or you can find you something to do." So that's when I started putting my total focus on accounting, but it was because my dad had previously tried. I didn't think he was serious, but have you ever seen a mad Italian? They're serious. So I dedicated with that career field, and I loved every bit of it. Still to this day, I love accounting. People think that's weird. I love accounting. I love helping people. I love counseling. I love investing. It's what I love doing is helping people. I didn't know you could do that with accounting. I didn't know that accountants help people until my mentor in accounting showed me that you can help lots of people with accounting. You can help people get their lives back on track. You can help people plan for things. Without accounting, you cannot do that. Today, in our society, in this generation that's coming through, they have nobody to guide them on a career path. And you have lots of strange degrees that cost lots and lots of money. to which their parents do not have it. And it creates a financial hardship. So, as these young people that we were praying about or praying with a while ago, you have to become a mentor to them and help guide them in a career path. If any of your children right now do not want to go to college, it's okay. I can get them a job tomorrow morning where they're making $60,000 a year. Just like that. Did y'all know that? One man came in my office, I told him that, and he said, I don't believe you. I'm bringing my son back. You're going to do this in front of me and in front of him. I said, bring him on. They sat in front of my desk. I picked up my phone. I made one phone call. And they said, he starts tomorrow. Be here. Our health insurance is paid, and they're putting in a pension for him from day one. Son worked there 2 weeks and quit. It's too hard. It's hot out here. His dad came back and said, Paul, I know you did it one time. Can you do it again? I want him out of my basement. I said, okay. I picked up and I dialed phone number 2 and got him a job. Had to go to South Carolina. He made more, had more benefits. He worked 3 days and quit. It was too itchy. Now, if he had stayed at the first job and he would have completed his apprenticeship with them, and I told him this, you can leave the great state of Alabama and you will immediately get a job making $250,000 a year. It's a 4-year apprenticeship program. You complete the 4 years, you will make over $200,000 a year. It's too hot. Too hot. We have to become mentors to these younger people. People look at work as a curse. People think because Adam and Eve sinned in the garden, we were being punished by God with a thing called work. Anybody believe that way? Man was created to work. Genesis chapter 2. Before sin entered this world, Adam was put in the garden to work. It is not a curse. It is what is in your DNA. You are created to work. Now, what you have to decide between the 85% and the 15% that were in that survey is I have to become one of the 15%. And it's really easy to do. Under God's economy, you will always be in the 15%. How? You do what He says. You put God first. He's in everything. So we've been talking about finances. Yes, God's in my finances. God comes first in my finances. We talked about budgets. God comes first in my budget. Tonight we're going to talk about paychecks. God comes first in my paycheck. I am focused on God. It is an opportunity for everything. Those people hanging out at the water cooler, don't be one of them. Those people that come late from lunch, take your own. Sit there. Study God's Word during your lunch. People are watching. And you get to teach them. They're going to come up to you. I told this story a bunch. I was employed by a company hired me up in Gadsden, Alabama. For 7 years, every single day, multiple times during the day. I always have a habit of praying when people cuss. I prayed all day long. I said, God, why do you have me in this job? I could not figure it out. There was a young lady sitting outside my office. She did our payroll. And for 7 years, I always play something like Gospel Broadcasting Network or World Video Bible School. That's always playing on my second screen on my computer. Always going. Something is on there about God on my computer every single day. She was listening. On the day that I left, she asked to be baptized. During that 7-year period, she would come to me and she would ask a question. I would give her I wouldn't give her the answer. I would tell her where to find the answer. She would go home and study it. She wouldn't talk to me for 2 weeks. She'd come back and say, let's talk again. Went on for the whole 7 years. The reason God had me there was for her to learn the gospel. The reason God has you where you are in your life today is for you to be doing something for Him, not for ourselves. Work is exactly that way. You have to apply yourself and put Him first in our work. We have to put Him first in our work, and all kinds of things are going to change in your life. I promise you, it will happen. If you put Him first, things in your career will change. So, our first Bible verse tonight is found in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 6. If you'll turn there, Nehemiah chapter 6. And we're going to look at verses 15 and 16. Someone read that for us. Someone, it is you, Brother Cobb. Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 15 and 16.
So the wall was finished on the 25th day of the month of Elul in 50 days. And when all of the church and all the nations around had praise and celebration in that nation, for they perceived that this work had been accomplished with the help of our God.
You have to realize when you go to work every day, God goes with you. You're His child. He's not going to leave you hanging out there. God goes with you. Turn back to chapter 5 and read for us verse 16. So, Nehemiah is saying, we focused and did our work for God. We have to do the same thing. God is the focus of everything in our lives. God is the focus of our jobs. There. Our work should bring honor to God. Our work should bring honor to our employer and the other employees. And our work should be an honor to our family. My dad always told me, it's something that stuck with me my whole life. He said, son, I gave you a good name. Don't ever do anything that would take away from the name that I gave you, because it's about all I could give you. We have a greater name. We are Christians. We are named after Christ. We are the body of Christ. When we are at work, we display that. The whole time that we are there, we are displaying the name that we cannot bring dishonor to. That will cause employees like the young lady that I told you about to want to be like you. They want to know, why are you so happy here? There's 85, if there's 100 people according to that survey, 85 people here in the office that hate being here, and you are happy. You always seem happy. Why is that? And what do we call that when that question is asked? Opportunity. There's an opportunity that God is just, we're always saying, God bless us with the opportunity to teach someone. Your very actions create that opportunity. My very actions, when I come into contact with people, I always search for an opportunity to say something for God. Every week I have the opportunity to teach a business class downtown Birmingham. The company invites me to come in and teach their new employees. In that class, I always invite them to church to worship with us. Now, if that comes about, one day there will be thousands of 18-wheelers parked around here somewhere, because I always promise them lunch. So y'all going to have to help me if they ever show up, okay? We're going to have some kind of cookout out back or something, but they're always there. I always tell them that they can call me, just like I tell you, you can call me. 205-470-0558. I give them my cell number. And I say, you can call me at any time except between the hours of 8 to 11. I'm in church. But if you want to speak to me during that period of time, you have to be sitting next to me. We are not going to talk business. But afterward, I will take you to lunch. And then we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Search for those opportunities at your job to say something for God. Pray. Say something to God. Pray. If you do not like your job, pray. Do like I did for 7 years, multiple times during the day. Why am I here? It will become evident. I'm sort of slow on those things. I don't really see them until later on. It's like, oh, that's why you had me there. But there is a reason why God has you where you are doing what you are doing, if you are putting Him first. God has a part in our work. God gives us the skills. God gives us the talents. God is responsible for your success. And God is even in control of your promotions. Did you know that? You thought you did it. You thought you were working them hard hours, they took notice, and they decided to promote you in your job. That came from God. I'm going to give you Bible verses on these in just a minute. But God is the one that brings His children success. He's in control of what they do. He's in control of their promotions. We have a part too in our work. I am way off. Here we go. We are to work hard, and we're not to forget to rest. Did you know that God wants us to rest? He does not want us to become workaholics. He wants us to prepare and to rest. Now, some people misunderstand the word rest. They think comatose. No. Rest is take your mind off of work. So, how do you do that? How do you take your mind off of work? I cut grass. Do accounting all week long, do investments all week long, counsel all week long. It's nice to cut grass. Cannot stand wintertime. Can't cut grass. I cut leaves, pick up sticks. You get your mind off of your work, but you don't have to become comatose. You can just change. Just change your habit of what you do. Some people call those hobbies. They take up a hobby. Hobbies, though, don't confuse them with employment. They're two different things. If you're doing something like a hobby to take your mind off of work, that's fine. That's part of resting. But don't try to turn your hobby into a career. I have a sawmill. People think accountants golf. I am terrible at golf. I've taken all the classes you can take on golfing, and all they do is say, bless your heart. I cannot golf. My brother is a great golfer. He gets invited on all kinds of golfing trips. No one's ever asked me to go. I tried to play with the church one year. They were playing out in Trussville. I'll never forget the sound of screeching tires as on the 9th hole, the ball went toward that car. I'm sure it hit it, and I gave up golf. So my hobby, the thing that I do for fun, is I have a sawmill. I cut wood. People say, what do you do with the wood? I give it away. It is not going to become another career path for Paul Wyndham. If you want wood, tell me, I'll give you some wood. I also deal with honeybees. Play with honeybees. I like honeybees. Solomon said, watch the ants, I watch honeybees. I could take a lawn chair and put it by the beehives and watch them all day long. They are amazing creatures. They teach us organization. They teach us all kinds of lessons on working. They are God's creatures. They're amazing. That's not work. It's a hobby. Brother Ansel asked me right before church, hey, Paul, when we getting some honey? Not this year. We had some. I thought I had a lot more, and I don't. So it's a hobby. You don't stress over your hobbies. But at my work, I work hard, and I don't forget to rest. Make sure rest is in your week. Some time for you just to be away from it all. In my career field, from middle of December through May, we cannot stop. We cannot. If we stop, it is a major mess. We have to keep plugging. But after that, we rest. You have to plan rest into your job. If you are the employer, serve your employees. Don't master your employees, serve them. One of the other surveys in trying to find out why people don't like their job is because of the boss complex. My boss takes all the credit for me. Has that ever happened? You've done all the work and your boss took all the credit? How did it make you feel? I wanted a new job? One of those type things? Yeah, back in 1989, that happened to me. That's why I remember the year. I'd taken on a huge project. I had traveled. I'd done all this stuff. My family sacrificed. Put the project on the manager's desk. The manager changed the name. The manager got a big bonus. And I said, I don't want to work here no more. Happens, right? A true employer, manager, will serve his employees. He'll be right there. If there's something to go on, or something is maybe dirty, you got to get your hands dirty for it, they're right there with you. They don't leave and leave it to all the employees to fix so that they can come back. They're right in the middle of it. They communicate. They talk to their employees. They are the ones that are out there giving direction for the task that has to be completed. They hold their employees accountable. So, where are you at on the project? That's the communication part. That's supposed to be complete by Friday. Has that been completed? And then the employee has to communicate back to them. They pay their employees a fair wage. Under God's system, you do not withhold pay from any of your employees. You pay them a fair wage for the work that they've done. And a godly employer will pray for his employees. A godly employer wants his employees to succeed, to be better than themselves, to put their employees first. Now, if you're the employee, turn over to Daniel chapter 6. Y'all are going to get there before I do. says it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 satraps, to be throughout the whole kingdom, and over the 3 high officials, of whom Daniel was one, to whom these satraps should give account, so that the king might suffer no loss. Then this Daniel became distinguished above all the other high officials and satraps, because an excellent spirit was in him. Who is the excellent spirit? There you go. And the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. Then the high official and the satrap sought to find a ground for complaint against Daniel with regard to the kingdom, but they could find no ground for or complaint or any fault, because he was faithful, and no error or fault was found in him. Then these men said, we shall not find any ground for complaint against this Daniel unless we find it in connection with the law of his God. If somebody wants to speak bad about you at work as an employee, let it be because you're doing it for God. Let them say something negative about you because you're doing it for God. No other thing. They couldn't find any complaints against Daniel. God was with him in his work. He put God first in his work, so much that the king notices. The only thing they could say is, we can't find anything wrong. We got to find something in how he's worshiping God. Let that be the same that's said about us. A godly employee honors his employees. A godly employee honors his employer. A godly employee verbalizes their faith. Do not hide your faith at your employment. It's the worst thing you could do. You are a child of God. You signed up to be in the body of Christ. You volunteered. Don't hide it. It's the worst thing you could do. People are out there in your job searching for ways to be closer to God, and you are the answer. Be the answer. Now, I always get asked, Paul, when are you going to retire? When does the Bible say you can retire? It does not. There is no retirement in God's economy. There is no retirement. There you will search and search and search the scriptures and try to find where somebody retired. As JJ just said, you'll find out when they died, but they didn't retire. So you won't find that. You might look over in Numbers and bring up the Levites, but it's not really the same as what we're talking about. But you don't retire under God's economy. There's other work issues like, did I choose the wrong career? That is so easy to fix. It's so easy to fix. If you feel like you're trapped and you just hate the vocation that you're in, you can fix it. So fix it. You don't have to go to something that you just chose to go to. Is it my time? Okay. I got to go to one exercise and I'll let y'all go, okay? I get asked this one all the time too. Is an extra job worth it? Remember last week I said, take your net income, less giving, less the needs, and sometimes that is negative. And that will create, I need more income. So they don't even have wants on their budget. They just have food, clothing, shelter, transportation, up there giving to God, net income. And when they calculate that, it is negative. And so I said you need to get extra income if that is the case. Now that we talked about this last week and doing our budgets, we have a tool where you can analyze and see if that second job is worth it or not. So in this example, I've got example 1 in the left column, right column is a different income. The first column is minimum wage. And after taking on this minimum wage job and they take out their needs and they add in the cost for things that they're going to have to now start paying for in order to do this job, it comes out that from a $7.25 comes all the way down to $1.25. And you have to now make the decision, do I want to take this job, use this time for $1.25 an hour? Second one is $40,000 job. So that comes down to right at $10 an hour after they get through paying all their expenses. Okay? Now, it gets worse from 40. It does not get better. The hourly wage actually starts going down, not up. That sounds strange, doesn't it? I had two of my clients. The wife said, Paul, do some tax planning. I want to know. She was a six-figure income. He was too. I want to know if my job, if I can quit my job and stay home with my kids, or am I making too much? And so we did the analysis. She was working for $4.85 an hour. And she said, I am resigning Monday. And she did. And they haven't missed a beat. All of their income was going to taxes and daycare and school. And she said, I can homeschool, I can take my kids out of daycare, and I won't incur the taxes. They haven't missed a lick. In fact, they are happier than they have ever been. Their family, she said, our family is now communicating again. My husband gets home from work, and he's not tired because I'm not sitting there saying how much I hate my job and I want to be with my kids. So now we have a tool that we can make that. We can make those kind of decisions with. Once we have our budget in place, we know if that second job is worth it or not. We can make all kinds of decisions. Can I buy a new car? How much is that going to cost? How much is that going to bring my hourly wage down to? How much more do I have to work? How much more do I have to be away from my family and take myself away from doing work in the kingdom so I can pay for a car? Pretty cool, right? We're going to come back in the second week of September. Brother Zeke Bixler is going to have a class in that first week on showing us what legal documents that we need to have in place at all times and how to maintain those documents. He's done a lot of work on that one, so I'm really interested to hear what Brother Zeke says about that. And then the second class in September is going to be Brother Ron Fields teaching us about real estate, buying, purchasing, investing in real estate. So thank y'all for coming. Oh, y'all got my contact information, right? I get back there too. It said a bunch of stuff. There you go. If you need me, give me a call. Thank y'all.